I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be love in a way that the other feels free. Well, I talk about this quite a bit. This is a really important part of becoming successful in all of your relationships. Not only in your intimate and your personal relationships, but when you're trying to get a job, or you've interviewed for a job and you come on and you need a job because you're out of work, maybe you got laid off, or you're trying to get the job that you really want. The key is not to come off as being needy and insecure, or feeling or portraying yourself in a way that communicates that you feel like you lack something internally, because it's one of the quickest ways to turn the person of the opposite sex off that you want. And I see this is one of the biggest problems that guys struggle with in their relationships, is over pursuing too much. And at the root cause of what's really going on is that the woman that they want, the object of their affection, just simply does not feel free. It causes you to give off a creepy vibe. And at the end of the day, what you're really doing is you're projecting your own feelings of neediness and insecurity, of scarcity or lack onto the other person. Instead of loving them in such a way that they feel free, you come off as seeking to possess them or to control them or to manipulate them. And then the other person perceives or starts to feel like they're going to lose their freedom by being with you. And if you've ever had a woman dump you and later tell you that she felt like she lost herself, that's what she's communicating, is that she didn't feel like she could be herself around you because you placed unreasonable demands on her, and those demands were simply a result of your own weakness and your own neediness. And so I've got an email here from a viewer, and he says, "Hey Corey, I saw your video on YouTube and wanted to tell you what has happened to me and would like to look into your phone coaching services. I met this woman on eHarmony and we dated for 3 months and everything was going great between us. At least as far as he thought. He says, we decided that we would have that boyfriend-girlfriend status, and then she asked me if I want to go to Hawaii on her birthday with her, and I said yes. 2 days later, she backs out of it, saying it was for financial reasons, but I know it was not. Then a couple of days after that, she says she does not know if I am the one for her, and she says she cannot be committed to me. What a shock to me. Things just went downhill from there, now here he's going to give us the rationalizations, as she is very independent, and this is the first relationship she has been in 8 years. Her ex-husband was around, which I did not agree with. And so that tells me that you were insecure and worried about the ex-husband still being in her life, and so you obviously said things that communicated that you obviously had a problem with it. And at the end of the day, you'd only known this girl for 3 months. And she was obviously still in contact with her ex-husband. I don't know if she had kids with me. You didn't mention that. But you don't have any right to tell her who can and can't be in her life. And when you start to look at things like this, you're basically saying, you're telling her and communicating to her, that person can be in your life and that person cannot. No, I don't like that. I don't like this. And you got to change that and you got to change this. The whole purpose of all relationships is you go there to give. You're there to help each other grow and become more. That's it. That's the bottom fucking line. There's nothing about possessing the other person in that. There's nothing about ordering them around and telling them who can and who can't be in their lives. Because at the end of the day, if a woman is going to cheat on you and you're doing everything right, there's nothing you can do about it. The best thing you can do is show up and be your best self and just watch and observe her objectively and see what she does. A woman who loves you and cares about you and respects you, she'll tell you about every phone call that she gets from an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband. She'll tell you about every guy that hits on her, because she wants you to know, that's her way of communicating to you, that she's being loyal to you and would never ever think about violating the commitment that you had to one another. But obviously you were insecure about other guys being in her life, obviously her ex-husband in this particular case, and so you started placing unreasonable demands on her, and it's like, oh, hey, now we're boyfriend-girlfriend, now I can start ordering you around and controlling you. And a man who tries to control his woman in reality, he feels out of control. There's things that are going on in the relationship that are happening, and you don't know how to react, and therefore you seek to force her to do things. And as soon as you start to do that, she no longer feels free in the relationship. And when a woman doesn't feel free, she's going to back off, she's going to get flaky, she's going to cancel dates, she's going to push you away. When you call her up to ask her to do something, she's going to be, I don't know, I'm not sure, I have to get back to you. Let me give you a call in a couple of days, and then a couple of days go by and you don't hear from her, and then you start calling her again, and then that just causes her to further run away because she feels like you're not loving her. The whole purpose of all relationships, you go there to give, and you're not giving at that point. You're seeking to possess and control her, and every single woman on the planet will, unless she's really fucked up, will run from you like the plague. It will happen every time. He says, we had a great week. We had a weekend planned a couple of weeks ago, and she sent me a text saying she wants to be alone and does not want me to come over. That tells me that she no longer feels safe and comfortable with you. She feels like she's losing her freedom by being with you. And that's, when women say things like that, that's what's going on. He says, I called her and told her, I cannot believe you would text that to me. Now he's butthurt and upset and pissed off at her, which is further going to push her away. He says the next day she called me and said things were not working for her and would not give me any real reasons why. Well, I've just explained to you why she's pulling away, and you continue to make it worse. It's like, I don't know if you know anything about flying a plane, but it's what we call a flat spin, and a flat spin is basically where it's what happened to JFK's son, 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was. He got into a flat spin in his plane, and what happens was he was pulling up on the stick when he should have been pushing down to give more lift under the wings, but he became disoriented. And so what happens is, what he's trying to do, trying to get more lift, is causing the plane to stall more, and it just basically spins down in a circle until it crashes. And that's basically what it is. You got stuck in a flat spin, and the more you were doing of the behavior that was ruining things, the quicker things ended. And that's why it just, literally in a matter of days, you can totally blow a relationship when you act this way, especially with a woman who's very cautious and taking her time. He says, she thinks she did not want a relationship, or he says, I think didn't want a relationship and she was just playing games with me. She didn't know how to explain to you in a way that didn't hurt your feelings, but your behavior is what was driving her away. You started acting like a stalker, and it really became uncomfortable and scary for her. When we ended things, well, obviously it wasn't we ending things, it was she was ending things. We just yelled at each other, and she hung up on me. Well, a man who understands women doesn't argue with him and never yells at him like that. That's, it's like 2 5-year-olds. And the reason she was acting the way she was acting was because of the way that you were showing up. And a guy who understands women never argues with a woman. That's completely immature. And that's one of the things why you need to read my book, so you can understand how to communicate with women in a loving, mature adult manner. You're there to help each other grow and become more. Yelling at her and yelling at each other on the phone, a woman's just going to escalate when you start yelling at her like that, because you're hurting her emotionally, and you yelling at her and trying to control her, which is you just projecting your own fear of losing her onto her. And what happens is, what you fear, you attract. And so you feared losing her, just like you feared the ex-husband was going to get in the way, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. He says she will not return my phone call, so obviously you're calling her again and again and again after she's blown you off and acting like a stalker. Probably saying nasty things to her. It's like, what do you expect, dude? She's just simply not going to call you back when you act that way. He says, I would like some closure and to know why she did this to me. Well, I think I've pretty much explained it to you. He says, she pulled a 180 on me in 2 days, and I can't understand why, and why she won't call me back. Well, you creeped her out, dude. She probably has had experience dating guys that act like stalkers or control freaks or abusive boyfriends. That's the energy and the vibe that you're giving off. And guys that act that way, they don't understand women at all, and so they seek to possess and control, which is really a direct result of their own fears. He says, I hope you can help me so I can move forward. And so I think I've explained it pretty well what's going on, but obviously you've blown it with this girl, and there's nothing you can do to get her back. The only thing you do is walk away and never look back. Maybe a few months from now she calls you, but I seriously doubt it, because it's like when you get in a flat spin and you crash the plane. I mean, that's pretty much it, dude. It's over. You're toast. So the best thing you can do, my advice is to go to my website right now, and underneath the email sign-up box on my website is a box that has a link that'll take you to the Amazon Kindle download page for my book. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, just download one of their free e-reader apps for whatever electronic device you want to read my book on. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these video newsletters, the articles on my website, or my ebook, you can show your appreciation by going to my website. And on the Would Be a Toolbar at the bottom of your screen, click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. Also, something I would recommend highly is to get a phone coaching session so I can help you. If you want to talk further in depth and detail about this, I can help you. And the quickest way to get my help is to book a phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.